Hi guys, we've got a lot to get through, so let's crack on. Are you all right with me doing this?
Yeah.
That's my girlfriend's in the other room. You can be in here; it's fine if you want. Okay, so these are the vibes. And we're going to do a few things. We're going to go through the team, how they performed. We're also going to go through a list of things I'm sick of as an England fan, which I'm really, really looking forward to. And we're also going to go through one moment at half time that I've got queued up here. So, first things first, I just want to say obviously, last night was abysmal. It Not only did we play kind of turgid, slow, boring football, but it felt like our players had actually forgotten what a football even was, and forgotten how to. When you look at this team, you're looking at like truly some of the best players in their own positions in the Premier League. Especially when you're talking about Stones, Walker, Rice, Bellingham in another league, obviously, Kane the same, Foden, Saka. I would say they've got a decent claim to be the best in their league and they all play in high pressing, dominating teams. And that's like the spine of the team. Not only the spine, the full fucking skeleton. And we can't seem to do that. Look, I don't even know where to start. Maybe I should start with more of an overarching point, which is we drew last night, and I've heard a lot of people saying, well, we drew in Euro 2021, we drew in World Cup 2022 in our second game, and we went on to perform well in World Cup 2022, even if we went out earlier than we would have liked, and get to the final in Euro 2021. Couple of things. One, we got to the final because of other factors, including home advantage. I'm not saying that means it's a bad achievement. I'm just saying it's a fact. And two, this feels different to that because we're lacking cohesion, squad. I think we're lacking some happiness in the squad, and we're lacking some clarity in our system. I think whereas in the previous two tournaments, yes, we drew and yes, it was turgid, but we were at least clear in that turgid system. You know what I mean? There was cohesion even in the boringness. But now it's like the team is not gelled, to put it in a really basic cliche way. We're just not gelling. The mistakes we were making last night was the first time I've really felt like we were going to have an actual England catastrophe on the scale of Rob Green fumbling the ball versus USA in 2010. Paul Robinson in Euro 2, I can't remember, fucked up. I can't remember what he did. Nigel Martin fucking up in Euro 2000, was it? I just felt like there was something really bad was going to happen. Like Pickford was going to miscontrol the ball. I'm not saying Pickford was the problem, but we looked so lacking in confidence and so shaky that it felt like a classic England fuck-up was round the corner. And I really haven't felt that since Southgate came in. That's not to say we haven't had shaky moments and shitty moments, but that's just to say I felt like we were confident in our system with Southgate, even if it was boring and, not always the best approach. Look, without just we're not going to win. Without going into too much detail that we've been through before, it's not rocket science why both our goals in this tournament have come from this right side. It's because we have a proper right back and we have a proper right winger. The goal versus Serbia came from a right winger going down the right wing, and the goal versus Denmark came from a right back going down the right wing. And why? And who scored versus Denmark? Kane. And why? Because Kane, like we've been talking about, needs runners beyond him. Once he has runners beyond him, cross the ball in, he's there. He will not do the running. And we saw that later when Watkins came on, how different the dynamic of your striker, how much of a difference that can make. And I'm not saying Kane's the problem here. He got his goal. He needs the runners beyond him. And that's another reason why we performed better in similar circumstances in previous tournaments, because the system was based around Sterling and often Rashford. And Sancho even. You know, I'm not saying he played great that tournament, but it was based around fast wingers going beyond Kane. And that was even when Kane was 3 years younger. We need that. So this is why the goals have come off the right. And I'm not reinventing the fucking wheel by saying that. Now Foden comes inside. Trippier literally doesn't have any effectiveness beyond this point on the pitch. He sometimes strays here, but if he's on the ball, he'll pass back. A lot of his plays here, back to Rice or Guehi or Foden, here. So we do not have a left side. If we're being honest about how we're setting up, once again, it's really like that. It's kind of like that. There's just a gigantic fucking hole where our left side should be. Now, do I think Foden individually played bad? No, because I think he was going into this hole, taking it upon himself to pick up the ball and run and shoot. In the absence of Bellingham, and Bellingham really was absent in this game, and that's fine. But is that what we need from our left winger? No, and that's not Foden's fault. I have so much that I want to say. Now, ratings of all the team, needless to say, they all did pretty fucking awful, apart from this bloke. Guehi is our best player in the tournament so far. And I love it when this happens. Maguire's injured, everyone's like, we've got a problem here. He is an absolute fucking rock. Enough said. Bellingham was absent. I think it's because of this problem, because they're on top of each other. Trent cannot, I've said it every fucking video, Trent cannot receive the ball. Sorry, this microphone's fucking up. Hold on. Trent cannot receive the ball in tight central areas, look and turn. He simply cannot. I've said it every video, and it's fucking true, and he got yanked off at 50 minutes or something in this game. Just insane, right? So, it's obvious, without jumping ahead, that the next game, if only we had a world-class centre mid who's played the 8 position tons of times in his career, won the Bundesliga Player of the Season for Borussia Dortmund as an 8. Oh, wait, we do have that. Bellingham. This should be Foden, and this should be Gordon. And it's that fucking simple. And you know the stupid thing is that I know a lot of the time England fans are clamouring for this or that or this player. I'm not even trying to change the system here. This is the system. And these are the right players for that system. But again, I'm jumping ahead. Now, I just want to go through things I'm sick of as an England fan. Are you ready? Number 1, draw in the second group game. And this isn't just a Southgate thing. This is a long-term thing in my life, it feels like. Second game versus, first game in World Cup 2010, but also second game versus Algeria, was it? In 2010. 2012, I can't fucking remember actually, but basically we never stormed the group stage, but certainly like 2018 we won our second game. Well, that's not proving my point. 2020 drew our second game against Scotland. 2022, drew our second game against USA. I'm just sick of not storming the group. The reason why 2018 isn't an anomaly to me is because we then lost to Belgium in the last game. So we still only got 6 points. And we went through second, right? I'm sick of not storming the group. And we should be storming the group. We should be getting this goal, pressing high, and winning this game 2-0, 2-1, something like that. And getting the 6 points, and then we're top. We're set to be top, and we could go into that Slovenia game, rest players, try out Watkins, any of that. Right. Second thing I'm sick of as an England fan. Scoring early, then dropping deep and conceding. Now, this is a Southgate thing, but it's not something we've necessarily been great at before Southgate. Notable ones include the Italy final in Euro 2020, the Croatia semi-final in World Cup 2018, the Serbia game, and now the Denmark game. It's just frustrating. We drop deep after we score. Why? In the post-match interviews, Southgate was saying, I'm not telling the players to do that. The players seemed agitated in the post-match interviews. It's the first time I've really felt like we don't have the can't think of the fucking word, squad satisfaction. I just can't think of the word, happiness in the squad at the moment. And I really felt that in the post-match interviews. Anyway, third one, it's quite a specific one. Things I'm sick of as an England fan, and this is not something it is something you can fix, but anyway, conceding goals from outside the box. I feel like I have deep trauma from multiple screamers from outside the box versus England. Multiple. I feel like it's like going back to Nasri in 2012, scored for France against us outside the box, near post. It was always a Joe Hart weakness to have for long shots, right? Especially at the near post. And then we've had the Denmark game in the semi-final in Euro 2020, free kick from outside the box. There was Chouameni in the World Cup 22 quarter-final outside the box. Here again, outside the box. I'm definitely forgetting some others. I just feel like there's so many memories that I've got of like us losing a lead or whatever from a shot from outside the box. And again, I know you can fix that with like the way you rush to a midfielder who's about to shoot or blah, blah. But my point is, I'm just sick of it emotionally. It really annoys me. I'm like, why do I have to go out? I have to relive this memory over and over again. It's very stressful. Number 4, acting as if we expect other teams to set up how we want. In Southgate's post-match interview, he said, we've really struggled because Serbia and Denmark both have fluid back threes. No. Yes, they play with back fives or back threes, but he's acting as if we're never going to be able to deal with that. He's acting as if he's almost like telling the world, play a back three against us, and we haven't got a fucking clue, mate. What kind of thing is that to say? You haven't worked out how to tactically deal with a back three with our system? The second most likely defence to come up against, 3 or 5. Sorry, yeah, 3 or 5 behind 4 is the second most likely. The only other likelihood. And we haven't considered how our system might adapt to that. Southgate always tends to say this. He always tends to talk about opposition tactics in almost like a defeatist way, like, oh, well, they did do that and that's why we didn't play well. Be offensive, like, tackle the problem, solve the problem. We're always playing teams that are solving the problems that we're giving them. And I can't remember a time where we've, like, solved an opposition problem under Southgate. Now, I'm not in, like, this whole 8 years was a waste and Southgate's been shit the whole time camp. But I am now stepping my foot into the camp of Southgate doesn't have the tactical nous to take these individuals further. I think he did before when we were building back up from the Roy Hodgson era. But I think we've hit our ceiling with Southgate because he seems inept at solving opposition problems. Think about was it the Italy game in the final, or it might have been, I can't remember exactly which game it was. I think it was the Italy game in the final. And they had, they pushed their right back really high up the pitch. So we were playing against their right wing and right back almost next to each other. And everyone, as you watching it, you were like, that's a problem. The left back can't deal with that. It might have been Trippier, it might have been Shaw. It's stopping Shaw from coming forward. They'd noticed that Shaw was like a big danger. I think that was what it was. And we didn't solve that issue. And it was infuriating to watch because I'm like, we all can see this and you're just not changing it. I'm not explaining myself very well, but anyway, he seems inept at solving opposition problems. The fifth thing I hate as an England fan. Things feeling fixable, but somehow out of the mental reach of our manager. And I'm not just talking about Southgate here. I'm talking about Sven, Capello, Roy, Southgate. So, Sven, what was the problem? How do you play Gerrard, Lampard and Scholes together? Put Scholes on the left. Right, well that's fucked. Can you play Gerrard and Lampard in the same midfield? We tried, didn't really work. That just, but it seemed evidently fixable by playing in a 3, Scholes sitting and letting Gerrard and Lampard go or something. He never played that. So that was the first one. Second one, Fabio Capello. Felt like he was, well never mind Steve McLaren, fucking hell. Felt like Capello didn't understand that playing Gerrard off Rooney was going to really, really help both those players. We stuck with, was it fucking Heskey for a while, like in the early days of Capello? And Crouch, he was always playing Crouch. And it was obvious that Rooney just needed Gerrard to play as like a second forward, and we couldn't seem to solve that. Roy Hodgson, multiple issues, but then again, he wasn't blessed with the squad that Southgate's blessed with. Now it's this Foden and Bellingham issue. To me, the solution seems so obvious. This is the solution. We have Bellingham who can play an 8, and not only that, but did play 8 for us at the World Cup 2022 when we smashed it. Mount was playing ahead of him, or Henderson was playing as a second 8. So, and Foden does play 10, that's his position. Whereas he's not a good left winger as Bellingham is an 8. That's the choice. So you put him there. Wingers going beyond Kane. When Shaw gets back, this will be a massive fix. Or I'd even maybe consider Gomez instead there. And then we're kind of fixed. But it feels like every generation with England, it feels like there's a problem that we all can see and that seems really solvable, but the manager either isn't seeing it or is unwilling to bow to the pressure to change it. That just feels like such a common problem. And the only time I've ever felt truly comfortable with the players we were playing and the system we were playing them in was World Cup 2022. I felt like we were storming that tournament. The way we, even despite that second game draw against USA, the way we beat Iran 6-2, we beat Wales, what was it, 2-0, 3-0, and then we beat Senegal 3-0. The system was flourishing, and we had Bellingham as an 8, we had Mount just ahead, and fair enough, Mount's off form now, but whatever. Foden was playing better on the left, maybe because Mount was gelling better with Foden. Hi. And that's the only time where I felt like there wasn't a system issue that was nagging at me. There wasn't something being like, wait, why are we not doing this? And it's back again. What? And this isn't something that I'm just like knee-jerk saying because of these results. This is something that's been the case for the last 5 games or something like. And it gets to the point where I'm like, is Southgate negligent? Is he stubborn? Or is he actually just dumb? However, I'm not putting it all at Southgate's door because I do think that the individuals are not up to scratch as well. The way that they literally couldn't fucking pass the ball last night. Which leads me on to my next thing. I've run out of numbers already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th thing I'm sick of as an England fan. Generation after generation, playing players out of position. So Scholes on the left. I consider Foden on the left as out of position, even though he can consider it out of position. Trippier on the left when we could have just taken Tyrick Mitchell or even a Ben Chilwell, who maybe didn't play well in the friendlies, but he's a left back, you know. Playing players out of position, that's one part one. Part two is, or the perception that they can't play a secondary position, which seems to contradict part one, but it's not. Let me explain. We seem to have this thing in England where it's like, we force players into positions that they can't play, but then ignore their versatility in other ways. So the Gerrard Lampard thing. So like we ignore the fact that they could have been versatile to play with each other as 2 eights if we had Scholes sitting, right? Or we also feel as though we now can't play Bellingham as an 8 because he's played as a 10 or a false 9 for Madrid all season, despite the fact we played him as an 8 at World Cup 22. And again, it's like this feeling of like, why is everyone but the manager seeing this? Every time these things happen. Why suddenly can he now not play the role that he played a year ago? And same with Rice. Like everyone said, Rice had a stormer as a 6, like at CDM in the first game. No problems there. He was completely off confidence in this game and had some trouble, right? But now even the pundits are like, oh, well, Rice plays more as an 8 for Arsenal and so he needs to be pushing up. We can't have everyone pushing up. Rice has played as a 6 for West Ham and Arsenal for the majority of his fucking career and for the entirety of his England career. He hasn't suddenly forgotten how to play a 6. Now, when it comes to Trent, he hasn't forgotten how to play as a CM because he never fucking knew it. Whereas Rice, yes, of course he can play a 6. Of course Bellingham can play 8. And that is not playing them out of position. That is playing them in one of their dominant positions. Playing Foden on the left is different because statistically it's clear that he is absolutely not as effectual, if anything, ineffectual for England off the left, but can be effectual from the centre. At least we know that from City. The whole thing's fucked. Which leads me on to number 7, which is never seemingly having anyone who actually wants to play CDM because they're always fucking pushing up. Oh, well, Scholes, he wants to attack. Gerrard, he can push up. Lampard can late dives into the box. Fucking Gareth Barry's not good enough. Or fucking, and then we get Scott Parker, you know, and then Rice comes in and finally is the saving grace. We've got Rice, and then suddenly Rice wants to push up. Dele Alli came in as a CDM when he started and suddenly he wants to push up. What is with this development of players forward all the time? Like when you're mastering a role, Rice is a brilliant CDM. And we instill it in their heads that like that's not enough. Or we tell them that it's okay to not get technically better as a kind of Jorginho or Rodri type player because we're just going to push you up and then you don't have those responsibilities. That's fine. Why? I don't understand why we do this. So then you're always going down the age groups and you're like, well, who haven't we pushed up yet? Wharton, Manu, like maybe they can do it. We're always like, who's next? Who's next on the conveyor belt of CDMs who we're going to fucking push up one day? Manu will get pushed up at some point. Anyway, if Gareth is unwilling to put Gordon on the left, Foden in the middle, Bellingham pulled back, which I think he might be, at least start Gallagher instead of Trent, at the very least. A little bit better, start Manu or Wharton. Because they actually know how to do the fucking role. Other things I'm sick of as an England fan. Having an injury to a supposed key player that affects our entire system. Luke Shaw. Hopefully he can come back in the third game because I think it fucking changes everything. Every single tournament, I feel like, and again, it's about not solving problems. Every single tournament, I feel like we're going in and we go, again, not including World Cup 22, we're going with a conundrum that is not solved. So again, I go back to Italy in Euro 2021. They had a left-back injury and they replaced him with some other bloke, I can't remember his name, who absolutely stormed it and they changed their system to suit him. I'm sorry I can't remember the names, but the story is true. Whenever we have a tactical problem caused by a player injury, whether it's Rooney, Beckham, all those people in the past, we haven't solved it. Again, we don't seem to have the tactical nous and to accept the versatility of our players to solve it. Why is Trippier here when we can all see that he doesn't have the penetration that we need? I'm like a broken fucking record. Why did we not take Mitchell? Which again, I'm not just saying now, I said at the time. Why are we not playing Gomez there, who is a more natural left back? It just baffles me. Final one, elite players playing like they've never seen a football or never run in their life. Now that's an obvious one. Like I said at the start, these players are elite. And the way that we're always like, oh, the players are tired, they don't have the fitness and that. Mate, they're elite athletes playing in the Premier League. They've got a baseline level of fitness which is enough to chase a game, you know, to put energy in and effort in. And the way they were passing, it was, decisions they were making was just mental. Like later on when we were chasing a goal, it was like 80 minutes or something. We were pushing up like this for a free kick. There was 3 free kicks in a row here, and we were pushing up and Pickford was coming up to take the free kick. And I was like, who the fuck is telling him to do that? What is happening here? Who is in control? Because he was looking over to Southgate, being like, is this right? Walker was looking over to Southgate, and then he ended up passing it to Walker, who just pinged it in anyway. But then the second time Pickford pinged it in, I was like, what is this tactic? Are you telling me that Walker can't ping it in? Like, there's no benefit to him taking that. What are we doing? It's so confusing. It's so confusing. No energy. So, the post-match interview with Southgate was so beguiling, if I'm honest. Because he was... first of all, he said, we haven't found a replacement for Kalvin Phillips. That's a direct quote. Need a drink, hold on. He said, we haven't found a replacement for Kalvin Phillips. Which is insane. Watkins, Bowen, and Gallagher. And he made them early. That was great, because that means that he recognises the issues, and he said as much in the post-match interview. When you read between the lines, normally it's easy. Normally Southgate finds it easy to cover up the negativity, but you could easily read between the lines of these post-match interviews, and you could understand that he knows that this Trent experiment hasn't worked. He knows that we weren't stretching the play. I think the penny might have dropped. Is that the phrase, or is it the pin? The penny might have dropped with Southgate, finally, on some aspects. And so I'm expecting, if he's got any sanity whatsoever, I'm expecting this to change for the next game. Now, I think what we should probably expect, I don't expect that he will bring Bellingham back to an 8. I don't think he's got the minerals to do that. But I do think, at the very least, we'll have this with Gallagher here. That's it. So we'll have Gordon instead of Foden and Gallagher instead of Trent. And that's at least progress. I think we can honestly expect that. I think that's probably what the lineup will be next. And thank fuck, because if that's what we get and we perform well, then thank fuck we had the wake-up call. But fuck me. The team needs a shake-up. Fucking hell, I've been talking so long. I'm getting hungry. Like, I've tired myself out. The team needs a shake-up. Southgate needs to show the starting 11 of that last game that it was not good enough. He cannot start something that's too similar to that last game. If he just makes one change, Trent for Gallagher, which again is pretty likely, fucked. Like, it's not going to show the team that it's not good enough. Gehi, Stones fine, Walker fine, Rice, he had a bad game, whatever. Bellingham's obviously going to start, Saka's going to start. But when it comes to the left, what we're doing with Bellingham in terms of central or forward, the left back could change for Gomez. I honestly would be happy if we saw 4 changes here. If we saw Foden changed, 3. Foden changed, Trent changed, and Trippier changed. I think that's really what a shake-up requires here. but I think we can hope for 2, certainly expect 1. We're top of the group. This happened in the previous tournaments. This may be the shake-up we require. Gehi is absolutely an absolute beast. He's the only player who's played well this tournament. I'm fucking starving. I'm knackered. I'm depressed. Da 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 da. Hi. Hi. Bye.